We'll just do a settling in meditation to just begin. So sitting up in a comfortable position, whatever that position is for you, and relaxing yourself, shoulders down, belly soft, and take a few deep breaths. And as you exhale, just releasing any tension in your body. You can gently close your eyes or soften your gaze. And allow your body to settle. I know sometimes we think we're relaxed, and then when we scan our body, we realize there's a couple of areas that might be able to relax a bit more. So you can shift and move around to find that relaxation point. Take a couple more breaths if you need to help let go of the day. So staying with your body, noticing any tightness, any discomfort, and breathing into those areas, just relaxing them a bit more. And as your thoughts continue to move through your mind, just notice that your mind is beginning to settle down. Your body's beginning to get a little quieter also. And we're just joining this group right here. The rest of the world is out there. It's not going anywhere. We're just going to be in this group for the next hour to take this time for ourselves. And you may want to thank yourself for bringing yourself here, giving yourself these moments of relaxation and getting grounded, getting centered. And feeling yourself being supported in your seat, whether that's in a chair or in a cushion or lying down. Just allow yourself to feel that support. Be very grounded in that support. Just being here now. Letting your body feel heavy. Your arms are heavy in your lap or at your side. And we can just observe the body breathing on its own in its natural rhythm. And as the thoughts come into your mind, we just focus on the breath, being very aware that we're breathing in when we're breathing in, and following the breath completely as we breathe out. So as we follow this breath in and out, we're just allowing that rhythm to kind of bring us along, letting go of the thoughts, just being here now in this group. And again, noticing the thoughts that come into our mind. Just notice what kind of thoughts they are. And you can name them, whether it's the planning mind or the mind that's imagining the future or going over the past. Just notice what that is and come back to the breath. So welcome, everyone. Hi, Rob. Good to see everyone here. So the past few weeks we've been talking about the Satipatthana Sutta, which is the four factors of mindfulness. So we have foundations. We have the basics of mindfulness, which in short is mindfulness of the body, knowing that we're breathing, we're walking, we're moving, we're sitting. Our bodies are made up of bones and teeth and hair and fluids. We get really attached to our bodies, and for good reason. They get us around and they help us experience this life. The second foundation of mindfulness is the feeling tones, and we're talking about the feeling tones of the experiences that we're having in this life. What kind of moods are we having? What are we experiencing? Is it pleasant? Is it unpleasant? Is it neutral? And just noticing that. We don't have to have an opinion or judgment or criticism. We can just notice, how am I feeling? So just like the body ages and is impermanent, anything that we're feeling in our feeling tones is also impermanent. It changes. It's very fluid. It's part of being human, right? Our mind is just constantly changing, which leads us into the third foundation of mindfulness, which is mind states. And we can have all kinds of mind states. Being human, we can be very emotional, we can be very quiet, we can be very reactive. And depending on the life that we've led and experiences that we have, sometimes we can be very reactive. And so, what happens when we want to find some peace and this enlightenment that we hear about is the fourth foundation of mindfulness, which is the Dhammas, or the study of the Pali Canon, the teachings of the Buddha. It can be very convoluted. There's several lists that go on and name very, very many things, and each one of those lists can have lists inside of it. So it can be confusing. It can be very confusing when you're really studying Buddhism. The Eightfold Path is the teaching of the Buddhas. The eight are the three groups. The first group being the wisdom group, which is right view or right understanding. And the second part of that is right thought or right intention. There's the morality group, which is right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort. And the concentration group, which is right mindfulness and right concentration. And they're put in this order for a reason, because they kind of lean on each other. They build on each other. So I'm not going to go into great detail on them, because it can get very detailed. I'll just say that the morality section, the four that are in the morality section, right speech, action, livelihood, and effort, are guided by the five precepts, which is no killing, stealing, lying, no sexual misconduct, and no intoxication. So if we follow the five precepts, we're going to be on a good footing in life, right? We're not going to get in trouble with all of the sinful things that we could get into. So this satipatthana, sati means, in a sense, it means awareness or mindfulness, but it's more of the tone of awake, becoming awake to something. The light bulb goes on. So we can really grasp something. Sometimes we'll say something, we kind of get it, but then this light bulb will go on and we get those aha moments, those moments of insight where it really makes sense. This is what mindfulness is. This is what the Satipatthana is all about. how can we really understand who we are, how we walk through life, how we can be happier, how we can let things go, how we can do all of the hard stuff easily. Once we understand it, it's really not that difficult. The difficult part comes in when our old habits come up. So how do we get past these old habits? One of the ways is we do our meditation, right? We learn to let go of things. We learn to listen to our heart. We learn to let go of our habits that don't serve us. So we get a little bit more deeper into the investigation of who we really are. Why are we reactive? Where does that come from? And this can get into a really uncomfortable place, because when we start digging into these areas, we start looking at past events that upset us and scarred us and created these habits. And it's a very uncomfortable edge to come up against. So when you notice that discomfort, that feeling of vulnerability, and I don't know if I want to go any deeper than this, this is getting too painful, that's a really good indication that you're starting to open up and learn. And I'll just let you know that as you dig deeper, there will be times when it's a little uncomfortable, but there will be more times when you get those aha moments of, oh, I see why I do that. And suddenly it's not so reactive. Suddenly we are not reacting in our old habits quite as often. And the less often we go there, the less ingrained these habits can be, right? So we're creating a new way of walking through life. One of the things I can tell you about myself is I actually was brought to Buddhism from the 11th step and the 12th step groups 34 years ago. And I was not a happy person. I was really miserable, and I couldn't figure out why my life was so messed up. and and I didn't want to take responsibility for any of it. Of course, it wasn't my fault. It was all of those nasty things that happened to me. Well, as I dig into this, I realized, yes, I had a lot to do with it. My reactions to the things that happened to me were really normal. They were very normal reactions for someone who has gone through some really rough stuff. And so rather than blame myself and start picking at myself, I started to look at it differently. I'm just reacting. And once I really understood that, I got to a point where I decided, okay, I'm going to dig into why. What else could I do? What other reactions can I have besides these that don't really serve me? They don't make me happy. And I can tell you a quick story about myself that happened recently. I feel often that I've been run over by life. I think many of us do. I feel that life kind of plowed into me at times and took away a lot of the things that were important to me. People, things, ideas, plans. And so someone was backing their truck up and ran over the walkway that I made. And I spent 3 years making this walkway. And I had told this person, you're running over my walkway. I don't want you to do that. And they heard me. They didn't stop doing it. And so the third time it happened, I just lost my temper because I let them know I was calm. And then they kept doing it, and that hurt me. And I felt like, no, this was a representative of all of the other things that had run over me in life. And it was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not letting life run me over. And I lost my temper. And so I went inside and I took some breaths and I sat down and I thought, wow, where did that come from? And I started to meditate on that a little bit because it really hurt me. My insides hurt. I was really reacting. And it wasn't that big of a deal. It was fixable, it wasn't that big of a deal. But what happened was I started digging, like I said. I came to this edge of discomfort. Like, I don't like this. I don't want to be here. I don't want to look at this. And so, of course, I realized I should, because it was uncomfortable. Once I realized where it came from all the feelings in the past of life running me over and things being unfair, um, I started to kind of laugh at myself and realized, yeah, this is some really old stuff that has already been worked through several times, but it's still there. And it's, I also reminded myself that as impermanent as life is, sometimes these things are still there. They may not be as deeply as ingrained, but I think for this particular instance, my psyche was telling me that I was ready to go into the next deeper steps of this investigation. And when I totally accepted this radical acceptance of what was happening, no arguments, no pushing it away, no feeling of aversion, just complete acceptance that this happened and you reacted. What's that about? And then once I took the emotion out of it, I was better. I felt better. I could think better. But there was a lot of old stuff still there. So, this is a really great practice because it clears out all this stuff that we drag along with us, all our childhood stuff, all of the stuff we pile on, even every day we pile on. We have opinions and judgments and criticisms about people, places, and things. And it doesn't really serve us. It really doesn't do anything healthy. It brings up old stuff that can be looked at, and that's a good thing. We need to dig into that once in a while. So that was the plus, right? That was the good thing that happened. I learned that I could look at these things, I would survive them, I would learn from them, I could laugh at them. Even though it was painful, I could laugh at myself for going there again. How quickly that happened was really interesting. So while we're doing all of this investigation, if that's where you choose to go, and I'm not saying you have to, but it can really throw us off balance. It can really throw us out into the wind, and we can really feel ungrounded, which is what I was feeling. And so I'd like to do the mountain meditation tonight to kind of get a little grounded myself and maybe help you guys too get a little grounded. Before we do that, are there any questions or comments on anything that I brought up tonight or in the past?
I felt with the work with the mindfulness work, and also I've been lately having some craniosacral done. For 3 years, I couldn't touch any of the things that my mom had left me after she died, and I finally was able just yesterday, the day before yesterday, was finally able to start organizing some of the things she had left behind for me. So that work's been very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Della. That's such an important um, part of life is the end of life and having to pick up the pieces and all of the emotion that goes along with that, right? So good for you. Yeah, hard stuff, this life sometimes. But in the end, in the long run, it's all worth it. So let's go ahead and get settled, and I will read the mountain meditation for you. So gently closing the eyes or softening your gaze, taking a few deep breaths, and again, just settling your body, feeling grounded, And allowing yourself to feel supported in your seat. Observing your body breathing and that natural rhythm. And while we're doing this mountain meditation, you can allow your breath to be part of it. It may symbolize the air moving, the wind moving. So you can sense into the support that you feel from your chair or your cushion. Paying attention to the contact points of your seat in the chair, your feet on the floor, your legs on the cushion, however you're sitting. Just notice all of those contact points. Letting your arms be heavy in your lap. You're feeling stable and relaxed. And sensing into your body, feeling your feet, your legs, the hips. Feeling your entire lower body sinking into the cushion just a bit more. Your upper body is heavy. Your arms and shoulders are loose. Your neck and your head upright but relaxed. And bringing awareness to your breath. We'll follow the entire breath in and the entire breath out. Letting the breath just be as it is naturally, without trying to change or regulate it in any way. Just allowing it to flow easily and naturally with its own rhythm and pace. Allowing the body to be still and sitting with a sense of dignity, a sense of resolve, a sense of being complete. And as you sit here, let an image form in your mind's eye of the most magnificent or beautiful mountain you know or have ever seen or can imagine. Letting it gradually come into greater focus. And even if it doesn't come as a visual image, just allowing the sense of this mountain and feeling its overall shape. These lofty peaks high in the sky. The large base rooted in the bedrock of the Earth's crust. Its steep or gently sloping sides. Notice how massive it is, how solid, how unmoving, how beautiful, whether from afar or up close. Perhaps your mountain has snow blanketing its top and trees reaching down to the base, or rugged granite sides. There may be streams and waterfalls cascading down the slopes. There may be one peak or a series of peaks, or meadows with high lakes. Observing it, noting its qualities, and when you feel ready, see if you can bring the mountain into your own body, sitting here so that your body and the mountain in your mind's eye become one. So that as you sit here, you share in the massiveness and the stillness and majesty of the mountain. You become the mountain. Grounding in a sitting posture, your head becomes the lofty peak, supported by the rest of your body, then affording a panoramic view. Your shoulders and arms are the side of the mountain. Your feet and legs are the solid base, rooted to your cushion or your chair. Experiencing in your body a sense of uplift from deep within your pelvis and spine. With each breath, as you continue sitting, becoming a little more of a breathing mountain, alive and vital, yet unwavering in your inner stillness, completely what you are, beyond words and thought, a centered, grounded, unmoving presence. And as you sit here, becoming aware of the fact that as the sun travels across the sky, the light and shadows and colors are changing virtually moment by moment in the mountain stillness. And the surface teems with life and activity. Streams, melting snow, waterfalls, plants and wildlife. As the mountain sits, seeing and feeling how night follows day and day follows night, the bright warming sun followed by the cool night sky studded with stars, and the gradual dawning of a new day. Through it all, the mountain just sits, experiencing change in each moment, constantly changing, yet always just being itself. It remains still as the seasons flow into one another. And as the weather changes moment by moment and day by day, calmness abiding all change. In summer, there's no snow on the mountain, except perhaps for the very peaks or in crags shielded from direct sunlight. In the fall, the mountain may wear a coat of brilliant fire colors. In winter, a blanket of snow and ice. In any season, it may find itself at times enshrouded in clouds or fog, or pelted by freezing rain. People may come to see the mountain and comment on how beautiful it is, or how it's not a good day to see the mountain, that it's too cloudy or rainy or foggy or dark. None of this matters to the mountain, which remains at all times its essential self. Clouds may come and clouds may go. Tourists may like it or not. The mountain's magnificence and beauty are not changed one bit by whether people see it or not. Seen or unseen, in sun or clouds, broiling or frigid, day or night, the mountain just sits, being itself. At times, the mountain is visited by violent storms, buffeted by snow and rain and winds of unthinkable magnitude. Through it all, the mountain sits. Spring comes, trees leaf out, flowers bloom in the high meadows and slopes, birds sing in the trees once again. Streams overflow with the waters of melting snow. Through it all, the mountain continues to sit, unmoved by the weather, by what happens on its surface, by the world of appearances, remaining its essential self through the seasons, the changing weather, the activity ebbing and flowing on its surface. In the same way as we sit in meditation, we can learn to experience the mountain. We can embody the same central, unwavering stillness and groundedness in the face of everything that changes in our own lives, over seconds, over hours, over years. In our lives and in our meditation practice, we experience constantly the changing nature of mind and the body and of the outer world. We have our periods of light and darkness, activity and inactivity, our moments of color and our moments of drabness. It's true that we experience storms of varying intensity and violence in the outer world and in our own minds and bodies, buffeted by high winds, by cold and rain. We endure periods of darkness and pain, as well as the moments of joy and uplift. Even our appearance changes constantly, experiencing a weather of its own. By becoming the mountain in our meditation practice, we can link up with its strength and stability and adopt them for our own. We can use its energies to support our energy, to encounter each moment with mindfulness and equanimity and clarity. Being the mountain may help us to see that our thoughts and feelings, our preoccupations, our emotional storms and crises, even the things that happen to us, are very much like the weather on the mountain. We tend to take it all personally, but its strongest characteristic is impersonal. The weather of our own lives is not being ignored or denied. It is to be encountered, honored, felt, known for what it is, and held in awareness. And in holding it in this way, we come to know a deeper silence and stillness and wisdom. Mountains have this to teach us, and much more if we can let it in. So if you find you resonate in some way with the strength and stability of the mountain in your sitting, it may be helpful to use it from time to time in your meditation practice to remind you of what it means to sit mindfully with resolve and with wakefulness and true stillness. So, in the time that remains, continuing to sustain the mountain meditation on your own, in silence, moment by moment, until you hear the sound of the bell. Let your imagination take you to becoming the mountain. How does that look for you? Thank you all for meditating with me tonight. It was good to see you. Well, I appreciate all of you checking in tonight. It was really good to see you. As always, have a great week. Hopefully, I'll see you next week. I love you all. Good night.